Once I started having returning clients is around the time I was like, I think I can leave my job.
Hello, everybody. Welcome back to the podcast. Today is very exciting because I am re-interviewing Jess, who is a past and current student of mine, but we actually did an interview about a year ago on the podcast about her UGC business and how she got started and what that looked like. If you want to go back and listen to that episode first, it was episode 13. And if you want to go back and listen, we'll link that episode in the show notes so you can go listen to that one. But we're wanting to do a follow-up episode because it's been a year and she's still doing UGC. And so wanted to just get the rundown on like what has the past year looked like, how has she grown her UGC business, and all of those things. So Jess, hi, welcome to the podcast.
Hi, thank you for having me.
Of course, glad to have you back. Do you want to give just a quick intro to people on the podcast who maybe haven't listened to the first interview or it's been a while, and let's catch them up?
Yeah, totally. My name is Jess. I'm 29 years old and I live in the Pacific Northwest out here in Washington. I'm originally from the Midwest, but I've made the Northwest my home the last, oh my gosh, like 10, 11 years. That's crazy. I used to move around a lot, but I've definitely rooted down here. For about 5 years, was doing massage and bodywork as my career, and I just recently left that in April to pursue UGC full time. And I'm also now in a professional dance and aerial company, so that's also been taking up a lot of my time. Would not have been able to do that without transitioning into UGC to give myself some freedom. Me
That's one of
too.
my favorite things about UGC. I'm like, yes, like it is a vehicle to then have time and energy to like pursue other things that you love too. Like, ugh, I love it. Okay, so let's just start with how long have you been doing UGC now?
Yeah, so I first started dabbling with UGC back in like 2024. So it's really been like 2 years. But when I say dabble, it was like I took like 3 months to build a portfolio where I was just like watching videos on how to get into UGC and like attempting to pitch to brands on my own. But then I joined your accelerator program in was that 2024 as well? Or
Yes.
2020? That was 2024 of like September, I think,
Mhm.
to November.
Yep.
And that definitely accelerated me and helped me out a lot. And I got my first brand deal actually the second month in the accelerator program. So that was awesome. But then I feel like I didn't really start pitching and like focusing on UGC until like last July. It was very much just like, let's work on UGC when we can to make a little extra money and see if this is something we can even work towards being a full-time gig. Like, what's the potential here? And I was still doing body work at that time, pretty full-time. I guess not as body work is tricky because it's not always like 40 hours a week hands-on. But I mean, even if it's like 25, 30 hours a week hands-on, there's so much back-end work that it is a full-time job.
Yeah.
And so yeah, long story long, I started like 2 years ago, but really started focusing on it last July and have
Mhm.
seen great results. Yeah.
Okay. I love that. Yeah, because our first interview came out like at the end of July of last year. So I feel like it was kind of when you were really starting to dive back in and starting to see some traction with UGC. So last time we talked, you had overall made like $5,000 with UGC total, is like what we talked about. And then you were
Wow.
kind of at that point now averaging like about $1,000 a month with like the effort that you were putting into UGC. So what has changed since July to now? So like 11 months. What changed in your business and like how seriously you were taking UGC and all that?
Everything changed. I changed everything. Well, so I was because the bodywork business was my own business, I was able to start scaling back, which I think when we chatted last year, I had already started to like scale back a day or two within
Mhm.
bodywork. So it was really nice to kind of like, pour water out of one cup and into the other. I'm really grateful I had that advantage, or not advantage. I built that. It took years to build
Mhm.
that as well. Um, And so once I took a couple days off a week from bodywork, I was able to just start pitching more. That was around the time I got Bento, which changed the game for me as well. Bento was such a great platform to find brands and just to have it automatically send pitches for you as well. But I started creating like a schedule for myself too, because UGC prior for me was very much again just fill in the blank. Like whenever I can work on UGC, I'll work on it, like a little hobby, a little side gig. And then I started making it part of my schedule. And it was like, okay, like from this hour to this hour, we're pitching. And like we're gonna focus on our like accounting a little bit better and track things better. And then I also like redid my pitches at that point. I had some statistics from brands that I could like add to my portfolio, which really helped boost, I guess, the increase in deals that I was getting. But yeah, mostly just pitching more. And I think I finally started feeling confident on camera. Felt more confident and just the way that I pitched myself and presented myself to brands, I felt like I knew what I was doing a bit more since I saw results for brands. That kind of helped the like identity crisis or the imposter syndrome that I was experiencing because I had no experience in marketing, video, like creating content besides just whatever I was putting on Instagram, which was not very curated. And so pitching more, gaining the confidence, not just in my videos and in my editing, but the way I presented myself to brands and having more statistics to show them and just
Yeah.
more brand deals to show them, I think is what really boosted me there. And then Bento, of course, just sending that additional like 300 emails a month, I think helped a lot. And so then I just continued to I don't remember exactly when, but then I would take another day off of body work. And so then I was only doing massage and body work like 2 to 3 days a week. And so I had a solid like 2 to 3 days to do UGC as well.
Uh-huh.
And so I think just giving it more time, I think that's something that has been so valuable with building a second business in being UGC is that you can really just pour into it when you want. And the more you focus on it, the more you're going to get back. And I know it sounds cheesy and cliche, but it's so real. And it was really something I could lean on, because there were months where life got busy or like if you get sick or something. Because I had a couple months like that and I wasn't able to really do much UGC, but it's like we can do more when we're inspired, which is also really nice to like have a work that you don't have to show up every single day, I mean,
Mhm.
if you do, you'll see better results, but you'll still see results even not, and like you can focus when the inspiration is there, which I think is
Mhm.
just like more potent workload for
Yeah.
myself.
Yeah,
Anyways.
definitely. No, and I think it's a good point of like you don't have to build your UGC business overnight. Like you started UGC and didn't take it full time for like almost 2 years, like a year and a half. Like
Mhm.
you were building your business, you were building your skills, your confidence, all this stuff and like you were putting work into it and you were making some money, but it wasn't a full-time job by any means and I think that is I think some people get frustrated when they're in that, like, beginning or middle
Yeah.
part where it's just like, "I don't know, I just feel like this is taking so long," or like, "I don't have 20 hours to put into UGC, I only have 5 hours a week," and it's like,
Mhm.
that part can feel frustrating because it feels slow, but
Mhm.
you have to just work with what you have to work with. If you have 5 hours, put in the 5 hours, and those 5 hours a week over 6 months compounds a lot. But, like, when
Absolutely.
you focus on it 1 month at a time or 1 week at a time, it just feels like, "Oh my gosh, like, this is getting nowhere," but, like, look at you, like, a year and a half later, you've now quit your job and now you do UGC full time.
Yeah, exactly. It's very much like a trust the process kind of
Mhm.
thing. And I just kept telling myself the whole time, like, no matter what it is in life, like if you just keep focusing on said thing, like you're going to start to see some results because at some point you're going to learn what's not working and find like a little nugget of what is working and then like hone in on that. And then maybe that happens again.
Mhm.
But yeah, I took it real slow and there was moments where I wanted to like pick it up again, but if I was starting to get stressed because I was running two businesses and I just felt kind of I felt a lot spread thin, very spread
Yeah.
thin, not kind of, at points. I would just ease up on it and stop because I was like, well, I don't need to stress myself out about this. And I don't want to go into it burnt out either.
Mhm.
But I do think that first phase is when so many people quit or feel that it's not working, is like you've had a couple brand deals, but like then there's a lull, or maybe you're not pitching consistently. That's like my biggest thing is I'm like, what's not
Yeah.
working? And it's like, well, have you been pitching? No. Okay. Start pitching again. But I think that's when a lot of people give up. And you kept saying like UGC is the long game, just keep going. And I think being a part of your online community was super helpful to see other people's wins,
Yeah.
or, new creators' wins that were, joined after I had joined. And I'm like, oh yeah, like this is still accessible and this can happen. So just trust and just keep working on it and you will see results. And I
Yeah.
have. So that's great.
100%. In terms of scaling your income, like your base rate kind of in the beginning versus now, like what has that looked like in terms of have you raised your rates? What has that looked like for you?
Yeah, it's kind of hard to answer that. I feel like it's a little elusive because there's so much of the negotiating
I know.
process. But from the get-go, I just put myself at 200 a video. But I would take less when I first
Yeah.
started. I did a couple gifted collabs and then I would take like 150 or 175. But then 200 was my base rate. And then just this last year, I don't know when I shifted it. I want to say around January, I bumped it up to 250. I bumped my usage rights from $50 per 30 days per video to 60. And oftentimes that does get negotiated down a bit, especially if they're buying a package or something. But yeah, so those are my rates right now. But I do also take advantage if a brand offers me their budget, or if I pitch them a big package and it's maybe my rates are a little bit higher there, just to kind of like see what happens, and sometimes it
Yeah.
goes and sometimes it doesn't.
Mhm.
But I started just pitching packages more too, from the get-go,
Yep.
and just trying to market it as like A/B testing. Let's try different angles and have slightly different demographics that we're targeting within this campaign or within this project that we're doing to see what hits, especially if it's a new client. And it's like, well, let's see what works with our energies collaborating, and then we'll go from there. But
Mhm.
let's try all these different angles first.
Yeah,
Um, yeah.
definitely. What's
Mhm.
like the biggest deal or package you've done so far?
Yeah, my biggest deal was actually last month, and it was from an outdoors brand. It was for 5 videos, all perpetual usage, and it was 2,250.
Love that.
Yeah, that felt really good, and I had so much fun making those
Mhm.
videos too. And I feel like my video editing has gotten a lot better recently, and I just played with it within that package, and so I hope it does really well for them. That was my second time working with that client as well.
I love
So that was,
that.
yeah, they were a returning client, and so the perpetual ad usage definitely helps. And I learned just the other day, I think I put it in our community, like, what is everyone charging currently
Yeah.
for perpetual usage rights? I was overcharging for sure, but
Yeah.
they bought it and it worked. But I thought yeah, I genuinely thought that was like a good rate, because I've seen people charging more as well. But
Mhm.
yeah,
Yeah,
so
it's one of those things. That's the thing with the UGC industry. It's so new still that industry standards, like, there aren't a lot of them. And so we're literally witnessing, like, in real time what it looks like for an industry to be created, to grow, to get standards, all this stuff. So right now it's a really interesting period of like, what are people doing? Blah, blah, blah. And it's like you hear one thing from one person and something totally different from another person. And you're just like, whoa, what? Like it's just fascinating because a lot of people are doing it differently. A lot of people are charging differently. And I think we'll see over the next few years that maybe some more standards will be normal. But yeah, it's still like so all over the place with so much in this industry.
yeah, and that's one of the biggest reasons I joined the base camp
Mhm,
was
yeah.
because I wanted to have community. I don't know anyone else that's seen like really trying to push UGC
Yeah.
in my personal life. And so I just wanted a hub of people, and specifically all girlies in this case, to like have to yap with about stuff, but then also to keep up with standards. Cause yeah, there really isn't one. And basing it off social media, I feel like explains itself.
Yeah.
It's just, I mean, the bar is everywhere there. Everyone is saying different things and it's so definitive, but it's not, and because I've seen some people charging like 1,000 for perpetual usage or even as low as 200. So I'm like, I really, yeah,
Yep.
yeah. And
It's
that's where,
very
yeah, the
fascinating.
Basecamp is so helpful.
Yeah, it is so helpful just to have a group of women that are like in it and also doing it and seeing so many different experiences with brands. And yeah, it's so helpful to have that.
So helpful. Thank you for having it.
Ugh, of course, we love her. So how many hours a week right now are you dedicating to your UGC business?
Yeah. So April and May, I have to explain myself. I feel because I just left my job at the end of April and I live in the Northwest and it is like 6 to 9 months of the year rain out here, like very rainy, very gloomy. And I'm a sunshine girly. So
Um,
April and May, my work ethic has been a little free. I almost said poor. It's been very free. So I've really taken a lot of time off work. So right before like March and April and even February, I had like it was going strong. And I was honestly at the most probably just working like 15, maybe 20 hours a week if I had a bunch of projects I was trying to wrap up.
yeah,
And right now it's just I don't even know how to give an answer right now because summertime, I'm trying
yeah.
to frolic outside. I just quit my job, which feels like such a relief on my body. And then joining this dance aerial community, I've just been like having myself a time, but still making money and can afford all my bills, which is great given that I've gone on a trip every weekend for the last 3 weekends. I'm going again this weekend.
I love it.
Um, but usually I spend about anywhere from like 10 to 15 hours a week. I do want to bump that up, I think, starting like soon. I think after this weekend is my last frolic for a little bit because I do want to reel it back in and see what I can do.
Yeah.
March was my biggest month as far as how much I signed in one month. I signed 6,250 for the month of
Woo.
March. And that was awesome because in March I was really focused on pitching like 1 to 2 hours, maybe 3 times a week,
Yeah.
and saw great results. And that's when I started doing more personalized pitching as well, which definitely seems to be where the industry has shifted, as you've mentioned to me before as well,
Yes.
which is a little bit more time consuming, but I mean, it converts so much better.
Yeah, it works. Even just what you said of like, oh, pitching like, 2 hours 3 times a week. It's like, okay, like 6 hours of your business a week, like that's not bad in terms of just like marketing your business.
Yeah, yeah, and I really like found a flow of I like doing it in the mornings. Like I have my breakfast and like do my things, but if I have my coffee and I have some kind of like hour long like audio playing, like some kind of like ambient music, I really just drop into a state with pitching, especially
Mhm.
personalized, because it can be kind of hard to get motivated to pitch,
Yeah.
especially the personalized ones, because you got to get so creative and spunky with your words. Or
Yeah.
spunky. I get pretty spunky with my words in my pitching because I feel like the more unhinged I am, the more it stands out. And it can be hard to get in that mood, but once I'm in it, it's like,
Yeah.
okay, we're going. And then it's like the ideas and the gears are turning. Um,
Yeah.
yeah, something else I tried to do in February and March that I kind of let go of, but I want to bring back is I was like using a tally system for like how many hours a week am I pitching? How many hours a week am I working on like my visibility? How many hours a week am I working on editing? And how many hours a week am I filming? Just to see where my work is going and like where my attention is going. And that really helped me see where I was like lacking or
Yeah.
not focusing, which was my visibility. I was not focusing on it at all. So I've tried to bump that up too.
Yeah. I love that.
Mhm.
Do you get any deals from platforms at all or just pitching?
It's funny. I was trying to look up what platform I have used and before this call because I thought you might ask that, and I don't even remember the name of it because I mean I use Bento, but as
Yeah.
far as like a creator platform, I don't use any. I'm just using Bento, and then like brands I find on Instagram I'll reach out to. I'll save it, especially if they're running UGC ads. I'll like flag it and then go back and pitch to them. But whatever platform it is that I have that I can't remember, I will get messages with inbounds there, but they're always like $50
Yeah.
deals or something. And I'm not in a place where I want to take that unless it was a product I like really wanted or something. But even then I just don't, yeah, like time is so precious now, I feel like. And
Yeah.
so, yeah, I think it's great if you're just starting. I think platforms are great in that sense.
Mhm.
But I think there just isn't like the best platform out there yet.
Yeah, I agree. Do you do any kind of personal branding? Like, do you get inbounds at all?
I have had like I've had a couple inbounds that I actually declined because I just didn't love the brand.
Mhm.
Um, there was like a couple jewelry, like the waterproof jewelry. I feel like a
Yeah.
lot of people get those inbounds,
Mhm.
but which I do like some of those. But the ones that reach out to me, it just didn't seem like a great company to collaborate with.
Yeah.
Um, I have had two inbounds, and I just can't recall who it is, but there were two, and they were smaller deals.
Yeah.
Um, Something interesting, kind of off topic, somewhat on topic. Two brands that reached out to me last week are brands that I actually had pitched to like last October and in January, and I just heard back from them. So that
Oh,
wasn't an
wow.
inbound, but it was like my first experience of, brands tell you all the time, like if they don't want to
Yeah.
work with you, they'll keep you on file. And I hadn't really like experienced them reaching back out.
Mm.
So that was kind of cool. It kind of felt like an inbound in a way
Yeah.
because I thought they had forgot about me, or I totally forgot I had even pitched to these two brands. Right.
Mhm.
But as far as personal branding goes, I'm trying to find my voice there, and it feels so vulnerable for
Yeah,
whatever reason.
it
And
is.
I just started posting to my own Instagram more and started talking about UGC more, especially since I started seeing some results. My consistency is not where I want it to be there, but it's getting better every week. So, that's something. I
Yeah.
clearly just take it, my process is very slow. I'm a slow burn, I guess, in this realm. So I'm just trusting that if we just keep doing it, it'll start to feel better. And it kind of is, even though it's inconsistent. I'm like, I get more ideas. I just need to start acting on my ideas. And I did start a UGC Instagram page,
Mhm.
and I was just posting video examples, but I didn't love the style of that. So I actually deleted everything and just started kind of posting again on there.
Yeah.
Um, what did get me some good traction posting on my own page, which I'm now doing as like an Instagram collab with my new page, just to bring visibility to that one, is I'm doing like a little series. And it was like, I was doing it by day, but I wasn't doing it every day. So I just recently started calling it like episodes.
Yeah.
But basically, the title of it is like how I went from burnout to living a creative life online and just telling my story.
Love.
And it's just funny how like so many of my friends in my inner circle have come out of the woodwork and now they're so interested in UGC, or just people I don't even know or people that I went to high school with. So it's been really cool
Mm.
to see how that has just resonated with as many people as it has.
Yeah, I
Um,
love that.
So I'm working on my personal brand. I just get a little intimidated in that realm still for whatever reason. Like I like to think I'm not, but then when I go to do it, I'm like, oh, there's some kind of block here. But more and more every week. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, so you have worked with past clients before, like you've had returning clients. Would you say that that has been like, have you had that experience more than once? Has that helped you with having more consistent or scaling your income? Or like, what does that look like?
Absolutely. Yeah. So I have like a couple retainers, and then I have like they're not quite retainers, but they're definitely returning clients
Yeah.
that come to me like every month or bi-monthly or even every like quarter. So as far as like signed contract retainers, I have done four of these. Only three, well, three of them are active. One of them just kind of stopped responding to me though, and we have 2 more months on our contract. And it's the biggest brand I've ever worked with.
Hmm.
I did learn that my email has gone to spam recently again. So that's been a whole fun thing. Um, but they stopped responding to me prior to that. And so I don't know what's happening there. And
Interesting.
one of the retainers, they just kept asking me each time we signed a new contract. We were doing every 3 months for more videos for less money. And I eventually just like
Wow.
let them go. Yeah, no. But I have about like seven really committed returning clients. We just don't have like a contract signed. or on a retainer basis. And these deals are anywhere from like 200 to like 1,000 to 2,000 or 2,100. So they're like very reliable, and they probably make up like 50% plus of my income at this point.
Mhm. Yep.
Which is great. I would love to, I'm gonna like try to get them on a signed contract. I would love to nudge them towards that because I think
Yeah.
it's just really great for both sides. But the returning clients are huge, and they're starting to see more and more results as I've gotten more confident and just learning how to make a better video that actually converts.
Mhm.
Again, sounds cheesy and cliche in this industry, but that takes time.
Yeah,
And
it does.
it does feel like you're throwing shots in the dark a little bit sometimes because things are just rapidly changing. But the more results that they've been getting, the more they've been coming back to me and want more content. And so that's been really fun to see.
Yeah.
So if I could just get like 3 of them to sign a contract, like that would make up all the money I need to pay all my bills every month. And then any new deal would just be extra. And I would love to get there. But I'm like
Yeah.
so close. I feel like it's like right there.
I love it.
Yeah, so that's been a big turning point um, for me recently to feel secure.
Yeah.
And once I started having returning clients is around the time I was like, I think I can leave my job.
Yeah.
Just knowing like, okay, one, UGC works, this system works, but two, like people want me,
Mhm.
and that feels really good. Of
Yeah,
course,
it feels very encouraging. For
yeah.
the returning clients, how would you say that you get them to come back to you? Like, are you reaching out to them, pitching them more ideas or asking them to work together again? Or is it them reaching back out to you? Is it a mix of both?
A mix of both for sure. And the ones that are seeing good conversions, of course, just reached back to me or they're renewing usage rights
Mhm.
perpetually. So that was great. And then I started, as soon as I turn in my videos, I just say, like, oh, like, now I have all these other creative ideas or concepts that we could do again. Like, do you want to do another round for next month? Or I always do a 30-day check in. A
Yes.
lot of brands don't respond to me when I do this. Like, if they're new,
Yeah.
I'm like, "Come on, I wanna know, like, tell me what happened." Like,
Mhm.
because it's like you spend so much time on these videos and then to not know what happened is like, feels so empty.
I
But
know,
the
it's
ones who
annoying.
do respond, they'll be like, "Oh, we got, great engagement or conversions," or like, "Oh, it didn't do so well, but now we see like what we could do differently." There's always some kind of piece of information in every video that does well or that doesn't, right? And so then um I'll usually say like, "Yeah, I have these ideas." But oftentimes they'll come back and be like, "Oh, well, actually, we have these ideas, so let's do this." And I'm like,
Yeah.
"Okay, sure." Or they like the idea that I proposed, and they'll let me run with it, which is fun. I have one brand and I've worked with them almost every month for like, gosh, like 6 months now. And they pay really well. And I love the company. And almost every month, they just tell me what products they want to push. And I just send as many briefs as I want. And then they just pick from there. And they
Mm,
usually pick like 7 to like 10. So
wow.
that's really fun. And I'll usually pitch like 15 to 20 ideas to them as soon as I turn in my old ones. And I'm like, what's next? Like, what can we work on?
That's
And they're like, well,
great.
what do you got? This is what we're doing.
I love
So
that.
yeah.
Ugh, that's the best. Yeah, I like cannot stress enough how much returning clients will change your UGC business. And it just takes time because it's one of those things like first it's a numbers game, right? Because it's like you got to work with enough clients that you actually have some clients that will come back to you. So like you have to have clients first.
Mhm.
And then it is a skill thing. Like once you actually are better at creating content and you're able to have those conversations with them about like, okay, so what's converting, what's working, finding the brands that will share metrics with you and have those conversations, and you just get better over time about understanding what kind of content works for these brands, and then they want to partner with you longer term. Or like same with what you said about it's not always like a retainer. Like I most of the brands I worked with long term, they're not on retainer. It's just like they usually come back to me, whether that's every month or every quarter, or like a couple times a year. Like I can pretty much rely on certain brands to come back to me frequently for content. And that alleviates a lot of my stress of like needing to be pitching all of the time or whatever.
Yeah.
Like having those few clients that I'm just like, yeah, like I'm I work with them on a consistent basis is really it changes the consistency of income in your UGC business.
I think that's the only reason I got away with not working so much last month and
Yeah,
having myself a time was I don't even know that I had, I'm gonna look real quick. I don't know that I had a single new,
new
yeah. So
client.
last month, every company I worked with was a returning client. So I was like, I
There
don't
you
have to
go.
pitch. Like pitching who?
Mhm.
I'm gonna go lay in the sun.
Yep.
Was like
Yep.
my mantra every week. And another thing that I do to build really good relationships with my clients is I'll just send them all the raw footage. I'll send them the B-roll, and sometimes I'll take a couple like easy photos. I don't put too much effort into the photos, but like if it's a something that comes in like a pretty like PR box, I'll like, set it up on my table, snap a shot of it, or like hold it and
Yeah.
just offer them some freebies
Yep.
to show like, hey, like I'll really give you what you need and what
Mhm.
you want. Like I'll go above and beyond just to build that rapport. And then if they're, I've done this for a couple brands. For when they've worked with me like 3 times at this point, if they're buying, like a 3 to 7 video package, like 3 times in a row, I'll give them like a freebie video. And I'll usually just make it out of the B-roll that I have from all said videos I already did. And it's super easy on my end. It takes me like 30 minutes to edit.
Mhm.
Just to show like some appreciation. I think a lot of creators get a little, well, I don't know. I've seen a lot of things on the internet. I'm sure it's not all like this, where people can be kind of stingy, which we should be. We should have boundaries and we should be grounded in like our pricing and how much we're willing to give with how much they're willing to give us. But I like to show, like the more you give to me, the more I'm going to give to you. Like we're
I
going to have
agree.
this like dynamic, fluid relationship and really support each other because I
Mhm.
mean, that's how you build a good relationship in general, right?
Yes,
So,
I agree completely. I think there's so much narrative on the internet from people who are just like, know your worth and blah, 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 all this stuff. And I'm like, well, yes, like there's absolutely part of that.
mhm.
And like people are going to come back to you and work with you because they really like you and because you go above and beyond and because you are an excellent creator. And like, I think people are afraid of giving too much. And I'm just like, I
Yeah.
don't understand that because those are the clients that like you're going to build such good relationship with and they're going to rave about you and really it's going to take you what an extra 30 minutes to snap a few photos and put the b-roll in a folder for them like
Yeah.
to me I'm like I would 100% rather do that and go above and beyond for a client whereas like yes technically like they could be paying for those two photos and that b-roll but like if I'm just doing that like once or twice in order to win them over, like it's that is so worth it.
Yeah, because it takes the stress off having to pitch as much, which I think that's like the biggest downfall of UGC is like having to
Yes.
consistently pitch is just
Mhm.
I don't know anyone that like loves that process. I mean, it can be
No.
fun when you're in it a little bit, like as I mentioned earlier, but for the most part, I don't look forward to pitching. Sometimes I do, I guess, but it just depends.
Yeah. No, I would way rather work with a returning client.
Absolutely.
What is the biggest lesson that you have learned for yourself over the past year of like really scaling your UGC business and taking it full time now?
Mm, my biggest lesson. It is so cheesy, but honestly, just trusting myself that I'm capable
Yeah.
of doing something that I had never done before. Kind of a funny one. Read the contract if they send the contract. I guess I'm giving a couple because I don't know how to pick
That's
one.
okay.
Um, I had a couple deals where like I just didn't read the contract proper and like found myself in situations like saying things like making big claims that I didn't necessarily want to make in the video, which felt like a big deal to me. Like a big claim about the product, but I signed the
Yeah.
contract based on like a script I previewed. I think also just like a huge thing for me, which is kind of personal. I felt so much, I guess everyone kind of goes through this though, but maybe not. I felt so much of like, what are people going to think of me? What is like, this feels so cringy. And then, especially just like starting to form a personal brand around this. And I'm in that very, very beginner stage where it's like there's not a lot to show on the internet for that. It's just showing me trying and it like kind of working and then like still kind of like, I'm clearly like working through that process. And so I guess just working through fear of judgment,
Mm-hmm.
but like of what other people think, I don't feel even embarrassed to admit that because I like to think I don't care, but
Oh
I
my God, we
do.
all care. Even
We
I
all
still
care.
experience
It's
that.
so it's kind of good to care,
Yeah.
but just really trusting that like I felt so deeply a pull that UGC was gonna like be something I could lean on. And so many people tried to talk me out of it. Or so many people were like, "Ah, ha, ha, like, good luck,"
Yeah.
or like, "Oh, like you're gonna like do social media, good luck," which it's not that, but kind of it's in that realm.
Yeah.
And so really just trusting the process that I know what's right for me and I'm gonna tune everybody out. I had a lot of support too. But of course, like sometimes the negativity is what we latch on to from other people.
Yes.
Really trusting that I knew this was gonna be something that would like change my life,
Yeah.
to put it blankly. Because it did, being able to leave body work, being able to pursue a hobby full time as a career as well, like dance and aerial. So yeah, not being afraid to put myself out there because I have also just gotten more confident about putting myself on the internet in other ways, and like my more personal ways, even like the dance and the aerial stuff.
Yeah.
And then I found like someone reached out to me to perform with them in another show, and I never would have really like put that on the internet before and just even the connections I've made with said brands feels good. So okay, again, long story long. Just trusting the process and like not letting what other people think or tell me like get in the way of
Yeah.
what I want to do in my world, even if it doesn't feel aligned with who I am. Because I had this identity crisis of like, I'm a wellness practitioner. I've been in the wellness industry for 10 years. I taught yoga, did massage, body work, and now I'm going to do marketing.
Yeah.
And that can have a sour taste in some people's mouths because there's some really negative marketing out there. But
Mhm.
I knew I could do it in a way that felt right
Yeah.
and felt good for me and whoever's buying the product, even. Um, yeah, so I'm gonna just stop that answer there. We're gonna land that plane.
I love it. No, those are all really great takeaways. And just like life takeaways, like those things translate to so many areas of your life. And I think that has been a big theme that I've seen with a lot of students and myself is UGC teaches you so many life skills that translate way beyond your UGC business and like
Absolutely.
skyrockets your confidence, skyrockets your social skills, skyrockets everything in so many ways.
You've mentioned the rejection therapy aspect before.
Oh yeah.
And that has really shaped me. Yeah,
Oh
being
yeah.
rejected so many times within UGC and not letting it bother me, of being able to like, yeah, put yourself out there, which again just sounds so cheesy and cliche, but it's like it's so real. Like people can't find you unless you put yourself out there. It's like that's what I need to tell myself when I'm like posting for my personal brand, or I should
Mhm.
say not posting for my personal brand. Because
Yeah.
people just really latch on to personality even if you're not the best of the best at whatever you do, like people want real, especially in this world of, like when we don't know if a video is AI or not, or some people are just like saying things that aren't true on the internet. And it's people just crave raw and real and,
Yes.
your version of it and your voice. And even
Completely
if you're not
agree.
a big influencer, whatever.
Yeah, and you're gonna find the brands that like really love your voice and really resonate with you. And that's what I always tell people where they're like, isn't UGC too saturated? I'm like, no, like brands need specific people and like really specific personalities and specific hobbies and all these things that like only you have. And I think that's so important to remember is like that goes with anything, whether that's UGC, whether that's like me as a UGC coach. Like, there's a reason some people are drawn to me and why some people would never work with me. And like, that is just how it works as a person who's like putting themselves out there in the world. But that's why, like, again, you have to, because if you don't put yourself out there, like, the opportunities can't find you and they can't come to you. So,
Yeah. And it's really funny, like what some brands will latch onto. You kind of mentioned this in the personal branding workshop you held in the base camp.
yeah.
So I won't spill the beans too hard. But like I've had some brands where they're like, oh, like we don't have any content like your content. Like we don't have any of that like wellness girly, or like you have lots of botanical like visuals in your videos, and like that's really not our voice, but we want to try that.
Yeah.
They're like, that's not what we normally go for. Or like one brand was like, oh, like we want someone with curly hair.
Yeah.
And I was like, cool, I have that. I can I can be your person. Like we don't have anyone with curly hair, because yeah, they want diversity, and like, or they just it certain things. One just like liked my dogs. They liked the way my dogs are in a lot of videos they saw on my Instagram. And so they wanted me to highlight my dogs in the videos. And
Mhm.
it was not dog products.
Interesting.
Yeah, people just love like little snippets of your world, or the little
Yes.
things that are unique, even if it feels like it's not unique.
Yeah,
Like
and, like,
everyone
how
has a
would they
dog, you
know?
know?
How would they know if you didn't share it, you know?
Yeah.
Like,
Uh-huh.
they wouldn't know. So,
Nope.
I love
Mhm.
that. Okay, to wrap things up, if people want to find you on Instagram, what is your handle? Where can they do that?
So my personal handle is Bodywork Bay, BAE at the end there. Which I'm like, should I change that? I don't know.
No, we
Identity
love it.
crisis. Bodywork Bay. And then I also have jessvanji.ugc, where I think I'm gonna start sharing more like UGC tips from
Mhm,
like a creator perspective, and just like little snippets of my process of like learning. And Bodywork Bay is very much like my world and my life of like frolicking around the Northwest,
mhm.
dance, what I'm eating, and things like that.
I love it.
So whichever one feels you feel pulled to, or both.
We will link both of those in the show notes so you can go find Jess. Also, what is your portfolio website if people want to go look at like the type of work that you are creating?
Absolutely, which you can find that in both of my bios on Instagram. But the URL is hello at co-createwithjess.com.
Beautiful. Love it.
Mhm.
We can link that in the show notes as well, so you guys can click on that. But yeah, she's gone through the accelerator. If you are a beginner and that is like you want something that is more of a roadmap to get you started, accelerator is a great place to start. That is in the show notes. And if you are a more intermediate creator, making like, at least like $1,000 a month with UGC here and there, then UGC Basecamp is a good place for you. We have a lot of women just like Jess in there who are like part-time or transitioning to full-time UGC. So it's a lot of women who are just like actually really serious about scaling their UGC business and taking it more seriously. So if that is you, we would love to have you in Basecamp because it's the best.
It's the best. It is so supportive.
Yeah, I know. I just love it. Would love to have you in this world one way or another. But Jess, thank you so much. This was a great little recap of just kind of where you were, where you are now, how you've got here. And I think it's just so insightful to hear stories like this of people who are like currently in it, doing the thing.
Thank you. Thanks for having me back. Yeah, I clearly
Yay.
can yap about this stuff way too long.
Yeah, obviously, same. No, I love it. Thank you so much.